All right. Because you caught me choking on my coffee, which is awesome. So what we're going to be doing is going over the mesh joints add-on. I'm going to scare the heck out of everybody with my throat clearing. The add-on is currently in dev, and it joins similar surface objects with perfect bevels. And that's the idea. So we'll recreate what I was kind of playing around with. And we'll go over the cube objects first, or rather flat surfaces. And bringing a mesh object, say, into another one slightly. Normally, you'd have to go in, create a boolean, create a difference, do a union, all this other stuff, and the geometry is a little wonky. And not only that, it doesn't produce a good bevel. So if you were to, say, have your object selected with the add-on, and you select your target, choose your bevel segments, and choose the offset, and click join, you get this wonderful thing. And we're able to just shade that smooth, and it looks good. So if I was to turn on cavity, you can see it just accentuated just a little bit more, but it looks pretty good without cavity. So one of the things we want to do is, say, take an object of a similar service and join it, because it's kind of a problem. It's always been one of those tedious tasks. And you can also, like Shift D, a copy of something. So if you're working with like a panel, you could just separate this by selection, and I could just fix this up, origin to geometry, maybe scale it a touch, and I can screw that up. And the general idea is that this is going to be maybe slightly buried in the mesh, because you don't even have to snap with this. And then you select your target, and you can join it. And once again, you've got a very, very perfect bevel, and the geometry is all nice and cleaned up. You don't have any loose geometry, no non-manifold geometry, and it just cleans everything up nice. Now, what about round circular objects? Well, you can do that too. You can throw in a cylinder, and let's just say you had some object on a hard surface model, and you wanted to attach something to it. You don't want it to just be hanging loose and parenting, and you can do that. And just as basic, let's take very basic examples. The add-on is not done, but you've got this overlap here with geometry, and this doesn't help. If you wanted to snap this, certainly you can do that. You can go through all this extra process, turn on face snap, press G to snap it, Z to constrain it, and that's beautiful, voila. But now, how do you get your bevel? You're going to be beveling this, or you're going to be beveling the other object you're trying to join. And you can make that look okay, kind of like some fakery if you want, or you can use an add-on for this. And turn snap off, and select my target, and we'll go with, say, 30 segments, because you can do a lot more. And maybe bring this bevel size down a touch, because I don't have a lot of room. And this will be more interactive when the full add-on comes out. I'll have some modal controls, possibly something like a live bevel adjustment as it joins the mesh. And then we can just click join, and voila, we've got our perfect bevel, and we don't have to worry about anything, because generally speaking, you'll end up having to come in here and say, let's throw in a cube. And then we go to geo nodes, and you're like, okay, I want a mesh boolean. And everybody's got a different workflow, I understand, for sure. This isn't going to be like every use case scenario. And I want to grab a UV sphere, and I want to join these two. All right. Throw in my join geo, and I suppose I don't have my screencast keys on. Shame on me. And we want to tag in our original geo, and then we're going to need to transform this so it comes up. See it? And while you're doing the union on this, you get something similar. Okay, but this is not going to produce good geometry. It's going to be hard to bevel afterwards, even though you can do it. It's just a lot of extra steps. You kind of have to play around with it till you get your two Boolean control lines. It's kind of a mess. You can use hole tolerant, a bunch of different things. And then you can go to object. You can do a convert that to mesh, and you can come in and maybe if the geo is good, you can grab your loop. It doesn't look like it wants to work. So I'm going to use the shortest path with control right mouse, which is right mouse for me. I don't know what you guys are using. And I'll just select everything. And I've got that loop selected. If I bevel this, it just gets kind of crazy and convoluted. And potentially it's not even going to work. So what I like to do is come in and use something with some actual Python behind it and do a smooth operation like this. And once again, you can just Shift D. You can take something like that and separate it. I may add that operator in too, so you can do that. And then put the origin back to the geometry and just extrude it just a little bit. I'm going to bring it down. Grab our object and our add-on. Make sure I've got my target selected, and we can make a much smaller bevel there, or smaller segments, maybe something like 6 and a little bit bigger. And you can kind of play around with how this is going to end up, but that's really nice. And you can come in and add your extra chamfers and things like that around that bevel and make it look nice. And that would be just a basic once-over demo. You guys get an idea of what this add-on is going to be capable of. And when the automatic bevel comes in, it's going to be super fun. Now, I do have some limitations, and I'm not afraid to show them at all, because ultimately this add-on's got to be tweaked a little bit. And it does currently have a limitation when going round to square objects. I'll work on that. So if I applied the scale and just say I shade everything smooth or auto smooth, and I want to select a new target and try to cut this, and I join it, it zaps the face out because it's kind of missing some code. I'm gonna have to work on it, and then just basically filling the face after that, and it's not working on this specific use case currently. So if I wanted to try to get a nice bevel out of that one, I'm not really going to get it just yet, but that's okay. It's all in progress, but it does work exceptionally well with round around and square around objects. And you can do this anywhere that you want on the mesh, as long as the surfaces are similar currently. And make sure I got my target. I can join that, and then we could throw another one in over here, whatever you want to do. And that's the same target, so it should just join automatically. And then what's fun, and I might incorporate this as well, I always like the addon, so you can kind of draw in certain shapes like that. And unfortunately, that's not buried in the mesh. So you can make a little adjustment, and then you can do that as well. And it's much quicker, much quicker. And you just can auto smooth again, and it will correct everything. But this will be on the Blender market soon. It will also be incorporated into the current add-on hard surface toolbox. But that's it, just a quick demo. Appreciate you guys watching. Smash that like and subscribe. And if you've got some suggestions for the add-on, things that work in your workflow a little bit better, let me know, because this thing can definitely be changed. So appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.